everyone, and I am finally going to be doing my pregnancy as a whole video and my labor and delivery story. So I'm going to start with August, which is when I found out that I was expecting. I found out on August 7th, and obviously I kept it a secret from YouTube, and you might have picked up on little hints in some of my planner videos, but other than that, I never made an announcement until, I believe, January is when the announcement came up, because I had said in a Cancun packing video that I wasn't going to be drinking, even though that's why I was going on my spring break so much earlier than everyone else would be for college, because I wasn't going to be able to travel. So I found out in August. I continued to go to college throughout the fall semester and throughout the spring semester. I did finish the spring semester slightly earlier than other people because I was unable to complete exams if I wasn't going to complete them early because of how my due date fell and how the semester would end. I had a relatively normal pregnancy in the fact that my weight gain wasn't too much. I didn't show as much as other people did. I didn't even have a belly at 5 months pregnant. I had a little bump. And I finally started to show in January. In February, I was definitely showing for my 20th birthday, which I spent in the hospital because I had a stress test done because I couldn't feel the baby move. And I did have some pretty bad morning sickness, but my morning sickness happened at night, so I got night sickness really badly if I ate too late. And I found out that I was having a girl in December, so that's that much. I'm really not sure what I'm supposed to say, but and then I took a pregnancy class, which is childbirth Lamaze, which is telling you how to breathe during labor, labor positions, informing you about what you have the right to say no to in the hospital. And then my due date was April 19th, and I kept saying to myself, I'm getting this baby out on April 19th. It's going to happen. I don't want to be pregnant any longer. And I said it to myself on April 18th. And April 19th at 4:20 in the morning is when my water broke, and only 10% of women's water actually breaks. And it's nothing like the movies where it's oh my god, my water broke, let's rush to the hospital. Yes, technically you're supposed to go to the hospital right after your water breaks. However, it was 4:20 in the morning, and I did not really want to leave. I got up to go to the bathroom, I used the bathroom, I stood up, and water kept coming out of me. And that's how I knew my water broke. And I was already sleeping on a big towel and anticipating that that could happen so that my sheets didn't get soiled or anything. So I put a big pad on, went back into my room, and went to On Demand. TBS is free on demand for Optimum, and watched all the episodes of Friends that they had. So now it's 7 in the morning, and I'm starting to have contractions. At 8 a.m., my contractions are about 4 minutes apart, lasting a minute each, which means you should go to the hospital. My dad, who is going to drive me to the hospital, had a doctor's appointment at 9 in the morning, so he's like, we'll go when I get back. I'm like, okay. Then he gets back, and he does another errand. So now I'm on the phone, and now it's noon, and he's doing his other errand. And I said to my dad, I'm like, no, we have to go to the hospital. They told me at 9 a.m. to come in when you get back from your appointment. So now I'm on my way to the hospital, which is about 20 minutes from my house. So I leave my house around 12:20, 12:30. I get there by 1. I get there at 1, and they check me into a room because my water has broken, which means labor has started. It's not active labor until you're really feeling contractions. Even though my contractions were 4 minutes apart, lasting a minute, they weren't strong contractions. So I get checked in, they check me, I'm 3 centimeters dilated and 90% effaced, which effaced means that that's the thinning of your cervix. And so that is 1 o'clock. From 1 o'clock to, I want to say 6, I told the nurse, I'm like, I don't want to do the epidural. I don't want an epidural. I want to do this natural. So from 1 to 6, my contractions progressed from being manageable, like I could breathe through them, I could like walk, dance them off, which dancing a contraction off is one of the laboring techniques. I also requested that I use the hydrotherapy tub, but since my water had broken, the nurses weren't sure if I was allowed to still be in a tub. And the hydrotherapy tub is not a water birth, it's just a kind of a pain mechanism without using pain medication. So instead they offered me that I could sit in the shower with the hot water on my uterus and my belly to minimize pain and make it more manageable. So that's what I was doing. So every hour for 20 minutes I was in the shower, the hot shower, and I was breathing through contractions. If a contraction was really strong, I would stand up and try to like squat through the contraction, which is another mechanism to get rid of them and to breathe through them. And finally, around 6:30, I couldn't take it anymore. I was in so much pain that like I was saying to myself that I couldn't do it. I can't get this baby out because it's too painful. And so that's when I finally asked for the epidural. They make you wait an hour, so I had an IV fluid in me the whole time, which you're not supposed to. If you're having a natural birth, you do not have to have an IV fluid line in your arm at all times. You only have to have the jacket. I had the jacket and the IV fluid. So they turned on the IV fluid to make sure that you're fully hydrated, because you have to be hydrated to get an epidural. They make you wait an hour, and you have to sit in your hospital bed for an hour. Now, I was so used to moving around, because I could move around because I didn't have an epidural, that I had to, like, downward dog on the bed, so I wasn't facing up at the ceiling. I was, like, having my head hung over the top of the bed because I could not lay flat because the contractions hurt so much. So, an hour passed. My mom and my dad were massaging my back to help with back labor, which is a thing that can happen in your lower back. And then the anesthesiologist who does the epidurals came in, and you are still having contractions while you're getting an epidural. And you have to stay completely still, and you have to have hunched over, have your back rounded so that your spine opens up so they can stick the epidural into your spinal cord, which is a 4-inch needle. So that went and happened. It was painful, but it wasn't as painful as having contractions. So now it's around 7 p.m. and the epidural's in. You can't eat any food. So I had not eaten anything from 7 a.m. when I had cereal to now, which is 7 p.m. And I really wanted some saltines. Couldn't get any. So I had the epidural. I could still feel contractions really well since it hadn't really taken effect yet. And it really only numbed my feet, and then I fell asleep. I don't know what happened while I was asleep. But now remember, I was at 3 centimeters at 1 p.m. They hadn't checked me yet, or they checked me right before I got my epidural, which I was 4 centimeters, 100% effaced. Which means I was, my uterus had completely thinned out at that point. So now it's 11:20. I wake up from my nap because I hadn't slept since 4:20, which is when I woke up for that day, officially, because I could not go back to sleep after my water broke. The nurses asked me how I'm feeling, and I'm like, I'm in pain now. I kind of want to get more epidural. I want to get chopped off. And they said, when were you checked last? I'm like, at 6 p.m. So they called my doctor in. They asked her if I should be checked. So some of the nurses come in, they check me, and you know, I'm just wanting the epidural to be topped off because I can still feel some pain. And they said, it's time to push. You're 10 centimeters. Now, remember, I wanted to have the baby on the exact due date because it is still the 19th and now it's 11:20, 11:30. That means I only have 30 minutes to push the baby out if I want to have it on the due date. So I start pushing at 11:30, 11:40, give or take, and I'm pushing, and it's really painful. Like, it is really painful to push a baby out because it's like you're pushing and you're pushing, but you have to push on contractions. And you don't know how much, like, you really have to put yourself into this push. You have to hold your breath, you have to, like, squeeze your whole body and make sure that you're pushing like you'd push a poop out of your butt. And so I'm pushing, and I'm saying I can't do this because it's so much work, it's so hard. And finally, I'm able to get the full head, which had a full head of hair on it, out of my down there. And I snap. I feel myself snap because I tore. Because I did not have an episiotomy, which is when they cut you down there. So I tore. And they're like, keep pushing, you can't think about that. Like, they didn't tell me I tore. I just kind of knew because it was like a rubber band expanding and all of a sudden breaking. And I keep pushing, and now it's 12:29 and my daughter is officially born. I did not name her officially until about 10 a.m. on April 19th, which is about a few hours after she was born. She was not born with a cone head because she was in the birth canal for such a short period of time. She was in the birth canal probably from 10 p.m. to midnight, and then that's when I was pushing. So a baby born with a cone head is normally down in the birth canal for a longer period of time than what that was. And now I'm gonna go over this first month of having her, since it is the 19th today when I'm filming this. And she doesn't cry much. The first nights home from the hospital were relatively easy in the fact that she doesn't scream, she doesn't cry. She just like makes a few noises to signal that she's awake and she wants to eat or she wants to be held. She was born at 6.12 pounds, 20.5 inches, and she has brown hair and blue eyes currently. She's a petite baby, but she is in her size range. She's in newborn still for clothing and diapers. Her name's Autumn Rose. Last name's not going to be disclosed. And one of the biggest struggles probably was learning how to breastfeed properly because it's painful. It is so painful. And with breastfeeding comes pumping. So that was kind of a little gist of taking care of her. So in the hospital for your recovery process, since I did have a natural birth, I got stitches after she was born because I tore. They also told me that I got a hemorrhoid outside of my butt, so that was really painful. So these are some of the pain tips they give you. This is nothing compared to pain medication, but this is an egg crate which you sit on when you're sleeping so that you don't feel any pain really. Well, you will feel pain, but to make it more bearable. This is the squirt bottle they give you to clean yourself up down there. For my hemorrhoid, they gave me a hypercortisone cream. For the swollenness, because after you give birth, your down there is really swollen. They gave me this Dipocaine ointment. Also for my recovery process, the best pads, even though I did have pads in my suitcase, were the hospital pads, because these are like the thickest, most cushiony pad there is, and they're actually the most comfortable even though they're so big, because when your area is so swollen and like wrecked for the moment, that was the most comfortable into transitioning back into regular clothes after being in pajamas, which I did stay in pajamas for both days that I was at the hospital, because I was at the hospital Thursday, Wednesday, which was the day she was born, so Wednesday that whole day, Thursday that whole day, Friday most of that day, and that's when I changed into my own going home outfit. And then to help with lactation, which I don't have any problem with, I'm like overproducing, I took all of these, this was a 60-day thing, or 60 capsule, 30 days, because she takes 2 a day. It's a lactation plus vitamin by the Honest Company, and I don't think I'd repurchase it. Maybe I will, but it definitely was worth a shot. And I have been eating some milk maker cookies, which you can buy at Babies R Us if you are currently pregnant and you'll be nursing soon. So those are just some suggestions. They gave me those creams, then they gave me this pain relieving spray, which numbs the area where you spray it. And this is because the scariest thing after labor for me was peeing and taking a poop. They gave me a laxative or a stool softener to help with the bowel movement part, but it still was really painful. And then the last thing they gave me were these witch hazel or birch wood, these pre-moistened witch hazel pads to rub those creams on, so I wouldn't have to actually like touch all of the swollen areas, because I was really scared to look down too. And the last part of my recovery process was the shrinking of my uterus, which I've been using these belly bands. So I have a belly band on, and I have it in 2 sizes. I have an extra small and I have a small. So I had originally had the extra small in my suitcase, too small after labor, so I ordered a small, which is what I'm wearing. I'm actually at the end line right now, so I can switch into the extra small. And I'm going to show you my belly, which was completely flat before, so I have a little bit of a line, but you can't really even see it. My tattoo didn't get stretched out, but it is kind of muffin topping right now. So I do have 13 more pounds to lose to get down to my original weight, which was 115. I got up to about 145, 150 while pregnant, but that's what my end goal is, just to be my normal weight again, because I do want to fit all my clothes properly. And I am going to insert a picture of my 40-week belly as compared to what I am right now. So I'm going to insert it on the side right here. And that's it for my part of the video, I believe. I do have my 6-week checkup on June 2nd or June 3rd. Autumn has her checkup the day this video gets posted for her 1-month checkup. But I'm gonna actually go get her, and that's how we'll end the video. So this is baby Autumn, and she's currently sleeping again, but she is a rock hard sleeper. Like, she's got a line on her face right now from sleeping. But she does have a full head of hair, as you can see, and I'll insert some pictures of her so you can actually like see what she looks like. But whoa, this is her, and she does have like these cute little hands. And what she's wearing right now, which if I stand up you can see, it's like a little giraffe outfit. This was what she wore when she was coming home from the hospital, and I was really big on her then, and it actually fits her perfectly right now. And what else? I wish she was awake. She can sleep through a dog barking. She can sleep through people yelling or arguing. She can sleep through a loud TV, and she has perfect hearing. Right, baby Autumn? But I will insert some pictures of her, and I'm sure I'll have another video with her in the future, but for right now, this is as good as it's gonna get, and I will zoom in so you can see her a little better. That's it for today, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!